Welcome to 15-Minute Theatre, the only review show that squeezes a whole production into 900 seconds. The date is Friday the 28th of August, 2020, and we've just seen White Noise online. Open the house. Hello, Victoria.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. We were having technical difficulties, but we seem to have resolved them, haven't we?
I clicked some buttons and moved some things up and down and it worked.
Oh, good for you.
Thanks.
All right, so we've just seen a play. So shall I give you a little fat file about it?
Please do.
Okay, the play was called White Noise. It was by the Powerhouse Theatre Company. Creative directors were Daniel J. Gearing and Mo Gearing. And there were two actors. It was Paul Westwood and Daniel J. Gearing. And it was...
Danielle Gearing,
I'm sorry. And it was an online Zoom performance.
It was indeed. So I was just closing my door, otherwise I would have picked up that you said Daniel instead of Danielle earlier on.
Well, please pay attention.
Okay.
So, and also, they did a recording of it. I don't know if they're going to be showing it again, but certainly if you go to the Powerhouse Theatre, search for them on Facebook, you'll be able to find out how to watch this. So, Vicky, would you like to give us a little synopsis?
Okay, so basically it is a series of Zoom conversations between a chap who turns out to be an MP, and in fact he's in the cabinet, and she calls herself Cam Girl, a sex worker, Lady DeFranco, I believe her name was. So it starts off, he contacts her for sex, but then they get into conversations, and then they continue to have a series of conversations, and she really surprises him with how intelligent he is and how she is and how witty she is, because I don't think he has many dealings with people in that world. So that's the sort of synopsis without giving anything away.
Okay, well, I suppose let's start with the negative, because that was my first problem, and it's not really anyone's fault really, but the premise is, this MP's going on, to get off online with this person on a sex cam, basically. And as soon as she and it's not a spoiler, very early on, she works out who he is. It kind of stretches believability a bit that he wouldn't just hang up at that moment.
Yeah, but we all know that MPs don't always do the cleverest things.
No, of course. And actually, to get through that conceit, to actually do the meat of the performances and the meat of the play, then that's forgivable. Did you like it?
At first, I wasn't really sure about it, but I really warmed to it. And I think it really progressed and became more interesting as it went on. So I'm going to say I did like it, yeah. Did you like it?
I did like it. I think, again, very much similar. Two very strong performances, I thought, to hold your attention for an hour. And they were well rehearsed. It didn't feel like they were reading or cheating, or there were no mess ups or anything like that. There was
a slight technical difficulty at one point, I think. It was a bit of internet issue, but other than that, no, I thought it was really engaging.
I thought they complemented each other really well.
Yeah, and I was surprised how engaging I found it, because I find Zoom meetings really boring.
Yeah, and we've all had so many of them recently as well, I guess.
Yeah, but I guess normally when I'm on a Zoom meeting, there's about 20 people in there, and this was just 2 people. But it was, I found them really engaging.
Well, my heart sank a bit at the start when they started talking about COVID, and I just thought, oh gosh, don't be stuck
me too.
Play listening about COVID, but obviously it was much more than that. Also, just a little thing, they were talking about Jeremy Corbyn, weren't they?
That's one of my favourite lines.
It was a great line, but slightly out of date, I thought.
Yeah, it was a bit out of date, but I did like that when she said she always wanted to know what Jeremy Corbyn smells like. And I thought, I'd quite like to know what Jeremy Corbyn smells like.
What did you think of the plot, the script?
Well, as I said at first, I wasn't really into it, but I definitely think it became more interesting, and I liked that they both sort of changed each other's perspectives a little bit. Maybe she changed his perspective more than he changed hers. But
It seemed quite a
um
well-informed play. The issues
yeah,
that they
well
touched on were
informed.
quite nice.
It was well written. Um uh the bit at the end, which I don't want to give any spoilers, I thought was a really interesting an interesting thing, which sort of really, because there's a lot of controversy with MPs trying to sell off the NHS and
Yeah.
privatise it and all of this. And I think that what they did at the end was quite an interesting twist on that.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't want to spoil that though.
Yeah. I thought technically it worked fine. Nice little costume change. Yeah. I enjoyed it. What was? Did you have a standout moment or?
Actually made some notes. This is the thing about watching stuff at home. I make notes, whereas when we go out, if we don't record the
Yeah,
podcast
we
straight
don't.
away, then
We
I've
don't know
forgotten all
nothing.
about it.
Yeah.
There was a bit where Mr. MP Man was talking about his childhood, and he was talking about when he was going to boarding school, and I actually found he seemed really genuinely very sad, and I found that quite moving. So that was a bit for me. How about you?
I just really like the bit where I think it was the start of the second bit where she went and got changed and she was all relaxed and listening to him and he was doing his speech. And it
Yeah,
was quite sweet, really. The
yeah,
characters are very likable. Two likable performances. I didn't dislike either of them, really, for
yeah.
what they were doing.
I had a few issues with. I know this is really difficult because they're recording at home,
Yeah.
but with the set, uh,
Yes.
with the MP, I just felt like that wasn't a room that an MP would be in.
I actually
And
felt the same about the woman as well. I thought, again, it could have been, if she's trying to make it a little bit sensual, I
yeah,
thought it would have been a little bit more
could have
to
been a
it.
bit sexier, a bit less
Maybe a little
hungry.
bit, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just little things like when he was drinking whiskey, it was like a small cheap bottle of whiskey, whereas an MP wouldn't drink.
Yeah, he'd
He'd
have a
have it
big
out
bottle,
of
wouldn't
like
he? Yeah.
or he'd have it out of a decanter.
Yeah, that's like
Um,
a drunk's brown paper bag bottle or
yeah, and
whatever.
also
Yeah.
he wouldn't drink it with Coke. He'd have it on the rocks, so he'd
Yeah,
have it neat.
absolutely, like
So
J.R.
there was
Ewing.
just like a few little things like that that took you out of it a little bit. But I appreciate that's really difficult to do at the moment. To be able to
Yeah.
get a set. But yeah, they sort of took me out at the moment a bit because I was a bit like an MP wouldn't drink whiskey and Coke,
Huh.
and then the fact that he had a biro, whereas an MP would have a posh pen. Just little things like that. I know.
I like
Sounds
that they use biros as well. Anything
maybe.
else you want to add before we take a break?
I mean, I've made lots of notes, but I think we have covered most of them.
Because we're exceptionally good.
Do you think?
Well. All right, well, let's take a break, come back and score it then. Okay, so any plans for the bank holiday weekend, Victoria?
Yeah, I'm going away actually.
Good for you.
Yeah.
So if anyone wants to come and burgle Victoria's house.
Oh no, no, there's going to be someone here.
Oh, good.
It's me going away.
Well,
But yeah, because the furthest I've been away is Richmond Park, which is
liar,
really
you went to
far
Australia.
away. No, I mean since lockdown, since
Right.
March,
Yes.
I've been no further than about 4 miles from my house.
Well done you, doing your bit for the society.
How much? What are you doing this weekend?
Well, I'm still a couple of friends,
Oh.
Nothing exciting.
Have you got other friends? I didn't realise.
Yeah, just about. I'd call them more acquaintances, really.
Okay. All right.
You're the numero uno.
Oh, isn't that nice?
All right, well, before we get too emotional, let's score it, shall we?
Okay.
All right, Vicky, you can start. Performances.
Okay, well, I thought they were both really strong and believable. But I have to think about how I judge it against other things that we've seen.
Yeah.
So I would go for an 8.
Okay, I'm going to give it a 9. I like the performances very much. Thought they flowed well into each other.
Yeah.
Stage and technical, it gets a 6 from me, kind of because we talked about a little bit about the set. But I know they're working within their means. But gets a 6.
Yeah, that it did bother me a bit, so I'm going to give it a 5.
Okay, fair enough. Narrative, plot.
We're gonna. I wasn't sure of it at the beginning, but it definitely got better for me. So I'm gonna go for a 7.
Okay, it gets an 8 from me. Originality. Well, look, good on them. I'm really impressed. That they've done this. We know how difficult putting any theatre on at the moment is, and especially fringe theatre, new theatre. So it gets an 8 for originality from me.
Yeah, I'd go for an 8 as well.
Okay. And finally, Victoria, was it worth it?
I'm going to go for an 8.
Okay. And I will give it a 9. Thank you very much.
High scoring.
All right. So we don't know what we're going to see next, do we? Let's be honest.
No. Maybe one day we might go to the theatre again.
I hope so. Theatres are kind of coming back, aren't they? So
yeah, but I haven't got any money, so.
Oh yeah, that's the problem as well.
Unless they want to pay me to go.
Yeah, if anyone or if anyone wants to ask us to come and review their show online or other, just drop the line at 15-minute theatre at gmail.com, or find us on Twitter, although I never check that, but we're also on Facebook and stuff, but you can find us. We're there. All right, and I'm there. We've got the scores in.
That was amazingly quick for you.
I know. Well, it's because we had. I don't need to bore you with the maths, but it was simple maths.
Have you made a spreadsheet and you're like doing some sums on it?
It was just simple maths. Okay, It gets a star rating of 3.8, respectable score, which puts it above Jesus Christ Superstar, just below Fleabag and Miss Saigon, number 8 on our ranking. So that's pretty good indeed.
That's pretty good. When you consider that the stuff that's high up there is like, sort of West End.
Yeah, I think they've punched their weight very well. Okay, well, listen, I don't want to hold you up anymore. You've got packing to do, no doubt.
Yeah, got to feed the kittens as well.
Okay, well, that was the Theatre Bell, as ever. So I can tell you that means we're out of time. I've been James. Who have you been?
I've been Vicky.
And the curtain's down, the theatre's dark, and that was 15-minute theatre. Good night.
Good night.